Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. For literally millions of families, this retail giant is the absolute go-to destination for affordable groceries, clothes, and, well, pretty much everything else you could ever need. But beneath those incredibly low prices lies a massive mechanical depth. It's what we like to call the Walmart iceberg. And despite its phenomenal success, it has honestly become one of the most heavily debated companies in America. So today, we're unpacking exactly why that is.
Okay, let's just dive right into this. Walk into a busy store, and you definitely know the drill, right? You've got long checkout lines stretching way down the aisles, maybe just a handful of actual available cashiers, jam-packed self-checkout stations, and employees who, quite frankly, often seem visibly overwhelmed by the sheer volume of the store. Now, sure, while this isn't the experience at every single location, it happens frequently enough that a huge number of shoppers report these exact, very recognizable frustrations.
Which naturally leads us to a really fascinating question. Are these simply isolated problems? Just an unusually busy Saturday or a minor local management hiccup? Or is this actually an intentional design, a deliberate, highly calculated feature of a business model that is heavily engineered to keep prices as absolutely low as possible?
Here's the absolutely crucial point to understand. Everyday savings, they don't just magically appear out of thin air. If relentlessly low prices are the ultimate goal, someone, somewhere, has to absorb that hidden cost. And honestly, that is where the true story of this retail empire becomes deeply, deeply intriguing. When we start looking for where the financial offsets for those everyday savings actually live, well, the picture gets a whole lot more complex than just clipping a coupon.
To truly understand how this model works, we've got to travel back in time a bit. Let's rewind to 1962. It all started as a single, humble discount store opened up by Sam Walton in Rogers, Arkansas. Compare that to today. They are literally the largest retailer on planet Earth. It's a stark, almost unbelievable contrast between a very simple initial vision and the staggering, massive reality of the company today. And when we say massive, we mean hundreds of billions of dollars in annual revenue. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is the jaw-dropping level of financial dominance this company has achieved in just a few short decades. It's almost hard to wrap your head around.
To fuel that kind of astronomical revenue, you need scale, and they've expanded to a massive global footprint with over 10,000 stores worldwide. They've built an empire that stretches to practically every corner of the globe. But how exactly did they pull this whole thing off?
Well, the core of this entire empire actually rests on a deceptively simple philosophy. As Sam Walton famously said, sell products for less than everyone else and customers would keep coming back. That right there, that's the engine. It is the core driving force behind the entire corporate operation and the ultimate catalyst for their unmatched historic growth.
It basically creates this massive compounding growth cycle. It works like this. Lower prices naturally attract shoppers. More shoppers immediately bump up the sales. Those higher sales, in turn, give the company enormous bargaining power with their suppliers, which allows them to negotiate even lower costs. And finally, those newly acquired savings are passed right back down to the customers. So the sheer volume creates leverage, and that leverage just fuels even lower prices. It feeds itself.
But success on that kind of astronomical scale raises some pretty difficult questions. How do they consistently offer prices that their competitors just flat out struggle to match? It's a brilliant mechanical success story for sure, but as we move from the tip of the iceberg down into the deep, dark water, we start to hit the complex macroeconomic realities of how those prices are actually maintained day in and day out.
Which brings us to the unseen pressures, the hidden trade-offs required to keep this massive model running. First off, there is a very well-documented impact on local businesses when a megastore like this opens its doors in town. Second, to meet the retailer's demands, there is enormous constant pressure placed on suppliers to continuously slash their own operational costs. And third, there's the intense strain on the workers, the very people we saw at those crowded checkouts earlier, to maintain the relentless demanding pace of a low-margin operation.
So, at the end of the day, we are left to reconsider the reality of this entire retail ecosystem. If low prices are the goal, and someone has to absorb the hidden cost, who is truly paying the price? Is it the local economies, the suppliers, the employees, or maybe a combination of all three? It's a question that completely changes how you look at a simple shopping receipt. Keep that in mind the